feeling like you're doing all the right things when it comes to eating healthy, especially as we get a bit older. Maybe you're carefully choosing what you eat, trying to make sensible choices, but then you check your blood sugar numbers and they just aren't where you hoped they'd be. Or perhaps you feel that familiar slump after what you thought was a nutritious snack. It's confusing. Isn't it you're putting in the effort, but it feels like something is working against you? What if some of the foods you believe are helping you stay healthy are actually secretly causing those blood sugar spikes? It's a painful reality for many, trying your best, only to find that hidden culprits are undermining your efforts. But there's a secret many don't realize about certain foods that appear healthy on the surface. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 of these surprising foods that could be silently raising your blood sugar, even though they might be labeled as healthy or natural. Understanding these can make a real difference in managing your energy and your numbers. Watch to the end, because what we cover might surprise you, and it could be the key to finally seeing the results you deserve. Let's dive right into the first one. A food many of us reach for as a quick, seemingly healthy snack, especially if we're on the go, or maybe adding it to our breakfast cereal or yogurt. I'm talking about dried fruit. Now, hold on. You might be thinking, but fruit is healthy. It has vitamins and fiber. And you're absolutely right. Fresh fruit is wonderfully healthy. The challenge with dried fruit, however, lies in the drying process. When fruit is dried, all the water is removed. This concentrates everything else that's in the fruit, including the natural sugars. Think about a grape versus a raisin. You can pop a lot more raisins into your mouth than you can grapes in one sitting. Right. That small handful of raisins, or dried cranberries, or apricots might look innocent, but it can contain the sugar equivalent of a much larger portion of fresh fruit, all packed into a small, easy-to-eat package, because the water is gone and the sugar is so concentrated. When you eat dried fruit, your body breaks down and absorbs those sugars very, very quickly. This rapid absorption can lead to a significant spike in your blood sugar levels, much faster and higher than if you ate the same fruit fresh. While fresh fruit comes with water which fills you up and fiber which helps slow down the sugar absorption into your bloodstream, dried fruit has much less of that buffering effect. For someone trying to manage their blood sugar, this quick spike can be particularly problematic. It's like getting a sudden rush of sugar all at once, instead of a slow, steady release. You might feel a temporary energy boost, but it's often followed by a crash, leaving you feeling tired or even a little shaky. Imagine you have a bowl of fresh grapes versus a small box of raisins. You'd feel quite full after eating a reasonable portion of grapes because of the water content. That fullness helps you stop eating. With raisins, it's easy to keep popping them in, not feeling full quickly. And before you know it, you've consumed a significant amount of sugar. For example, a small box of raisins, about 1.5 ounces, can have around 25 grams of sugar. To get that much sugar from fresh grapes, you'd need to eat a much larger quantity, and you'd also get a lot more water and bulk, which would likely prevent you from overconsuming the sugar in the first place. Dried cranberries, especially, are often sweetened even further during processing because they are naturally quite tart. So, you're not just getting concentrated natural sugar, but often added sugar too. Check the ingredient list. You might be surprised. So, what's the actionable step here? It's not necessarily about banning dried fruit entirely from your life if you absolutely love it. But awareness is key. If you're going to have dried fruit, treat it more like a candy or a treat, and have just a very small portion, a tablespoon or two, perhaps. And crucially, don't eat it on its own. Pair it with something that has protein and healthy fat, like a few nuts or seeds, or some plain yogurt. This can help slow down the absorption of the sugar and lessen the blood sugar spike. Think of it as adding speed bumps to your digestive system. The protein and fat act as those speed bumps, helping to smooth out the sugar release. But honestly, The best approach for managing blood sugar is usually to swap dried fruit for fresh fruit whenever possible. An apple, a pear, a handful of berries. They all offer wonderful sweetness, fiber, and nutrients without the concentrated sugar load and rapid spike of their dried counterparts. Make fresh fruit your go-to. Moving on from tricky dried fruit, let's look at another common beverage that many consider a health drink: fruit juice. Now, I know what you might be thinking again. But it's 100% fruit juice. It says no added sugar on the carton. And yes, that might be true. However, just like with dried fruit, the problem isn't necessarily added sugar, but the way the sugar is presented to your body compared to eating the whole fruit. When fruit is juiced, the fiber is largely removed. Fiber is incredibly important for blood sugar control because it creates a sort of mesh in your digestive system that slows down the absorption of sugars and carbohydrates. It prevents that rapid rush into your bloodstream. When you drink fruit juice, even if it's 100% pure fruit juice with no added sugar, you're essentially drinking a glass of concentrated sugar water with some vitamins. The sugar hits your bloodstream very quickly because there's no fiber to slow it down. Your pancreas has to work overtime to release insulin to deal with that sudden surge of sugar. Doing this repeatedly over time can be taxing on your system and contribute to insulin resistance. Think about it this way. How many oranges does it take to make one glass of orange juice? Usually, several. Would you sit down and eat 3 or 4 oranges in one go? Probably not. The fiber and bulk would fill you up long before you consumed that much sugar. But drinking the juice equivalent is easy, and you get all that sugar from multiple fruits without any of the fiber that would normally help your body process it slowly. This is true for all kinds of fruit juice: apple juice, grape juice, cranberry juice, even vegetable juices that have a lot of fruit added for sweetness. They all deliver a quick sugar punch. Even seemingly healthier options like green juices or smoothies bought from a store can be loaded with fruit juice or large quantities of high-sugar fruits, turning them into sugar bombs. For instance, a standard glass of orange juice can have around 20-25 grams of sugar, similar to a can of soda, though with more vitamins. But from a blood sugar perspective, the impact is very similar. A fast, sharp rise. So, what can you do instead of reaching for that glass of juice? The simplest and most effective swap is to eat the whole fruit instead. You get the delicious taste, the vitamins, minerals, and the crucial fiber. If you enjoy having a drink with breakfast, opt for water, unsweetened tea, or coffee. If you absolutely love the taste of juice, try diluting a small amount with water or sparkling water to significantly reduce the sugar load in each serving. A splash of juice for flavor in a large glass of water is a much better option than a full glass of pure juice. Another alternative could be making your own blended smoothie at home, but including plenty of vegetables like spinach or kale, healthy fats like avocado, chia seeds, or nut butter, and protein like yogurt or protein powder to balance out a smaller amount of fruit, ensuring you retain the fiber and slow down sugar absorption. The key takeaway here is to prioritize whole fruits over fruit juice every time when you're thinking about managing your blood sugar effectively. Now that we've discussed dried fruit and fruit juice, let's talk about another food category that often disguises added sugar and can sabotage your blood sugar goals: certain types of low-fat flavored yogurts. It sounds healthy. Right. Low fat, dairy, calcium, maybe some probiotics. But here's the trick: when manufacturers remove fat from a food, they often need to add something else to make it taste good and give it texture. More often than not, that something else is sugar. Fat provides richness and flavor, and without it, the product can taste bland or watery. Adding sugar makes it palatable, but it completely changes the nutritional profile in a way that's detrimental to blood sugar control. Look at the nutrition label on a container of flavored, low-fat yogurt. You might be shocked by the amount of sugar per serving. Some small containers can have upwards of 15, 20, or even more grams of sugar, much of which is added sugar. Not the natural sugar found in milk lactose, This added sugar, combined with the fact that the fat, which would normally help slow down digestion, is removed, means this healthy snack can cause a rapid spike in your blood sugar. It's essentially like eating a dessert, but it's marketed and perceived as a health food. You might think you're doing your body a favor by choosing the low-fat option, but you could be consuming a significant amount of hidden sugar. For example, a single serving of some popular brands of low-fat fruit-flavored yogurt can contain as much sugar as a couple of cookies or a scoop of ice cream. And because it's a liquidy or semi-liquid food, it tends to be digested relatively quickly, leading to that unwelcome blood sugar spike soon after eating. This can be especially problematic if you eat it as a snack on its own between meals. You might feel a temporary energy boost from the sugar, followed by that inevitable crash and perhaps even increased sugar cravings later. So, what's the better option? Plain, unsweetened yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, is a much better choice for blood sugar management. Greek yogurt is thicker, often higher in protein, and contains significantly less sugar than its flavored counterparts. Protein is fantastic for helping you feel full and for slowing down the absorption of carbohydrates and sugars. While plain yogurt does contain some natural milk sugar lactose, it's generally much lower than the total sugar found in flavored yogurts. And because of the protein and sometimes fat content, the sugar is absorbed more slowly. You can easily make plain yogurt delicious and much healthier than the pre-flavored versions. Add a small amount of fresh berries, which are lower in sugar than many other fruits, a sprinkle of nuts or seeds for healthy fats and fiber, maybe a dash of cinnamon for flavor, which some studies even suggest might help with blood sugar sensitivity. If you need a little sweetness, a tiny drizzle of honey or maple syrup is okay in moderation, but start by trying it with just fruit and spices. This way, you control exactly how much sugar goes into your yogurt, and you benefit from the protein and fat that helps keep your blood sugar stable. Don't be afraid of full-fat plain yogurt either. The fat helps with satiety and slows sugar absorption, and dairy fat isn't the villain it was once made out to be for most people's metabolic health, especially when compared to added sugar. Prioritizing plain yogurt and adding your own healthy mix-ins is a simple change that can have a big positive impact. Moving on from dairy, let's look at another category often seen as a light, healthy snack option, particularly popular for those watching their weight: rice cakes and certain types of crackers. These are often marketed as low-calorie or low-fat, and they can seem like an innocent base for toppings. However, many standard rice cakes and refined grain crackers are made from highly processed, refined carbohydrates. When you eat refined carbohydrates, your body quickly breaks them down into glucose, which is sugar. Because the fiber and other beneficial parts of the grain have been stripped away during processing, there's very little to slow down this conversion and absorption. Think of a standard plain rice cake. It's essentially puffed, processed rice. There's almost no fiber, very little protein, and very little fat. When you eat one, or two, or three, that carbohydrate is rapidly converted to sugar in your digestive system. This causes a quick spike in your blood sugar, similar to drinking a sugary drink or eating white bread. While they might be low in calories individually, the glycemic impact, how quickly and how much they raise your blood sugar, can be quite high. The same goes for many types of crackers made from white flour or refined grains. They might be thin and seem insubstantial, but they offer little in the way of fiber or protein to buffer the sugar load. For someone trying to manage blood sugar, relying on these as a primary snack can be counterproductive. That rapid sugar spike can lead to the insulin surge we talked about earlier, followed by a potential crash. You might find yourself feeling hungry again soon after eating them, leading to more snacking and a cycle of blood sugar ups and downs throughout the day. Even if you put a healthy topping on them, like avocado or a slice of cheese, the base itself is still causing that initial quick sugar hit. So, what are some better alternatives for a crunchy snack or a vehicle for toppings? Look for crackers made from whole grains with visible seeds, or those made from nut and seed flours. These options will be higher in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, which all work together to slow down sugar absorption and provide a more sustained release of energy. Read the ingredient list and the nutrition label. Look for options where whole grains or seeds are listed as the first ingredient. And check the fiber content. The higher, the better. Pairing any cracker or rice cake, if you still choose to eat them occasionally with protein and fat, is also essential. Don't eat them plain. Top them with nut butter, cheese, avocado, or a piece of lean protein like smoked salmon or turkey. This pairing helps to reduce the overall glycemic impact of the snack. But swapping to truly whole grain, seed-rich crackers, or opting for entirely different snacks like nuts, seeds, vegetable sticks with hummus, or a piece of cheese is often the best strategy to avoid those hidden blood sugar spikes from refined carbohydrates. It's about choosing snacks that provide more sustained energy and nutritional value beyond just quick-burning carbs. Finally, let's look at a trend that has gained a lot of popularity. Often perceived as the epitome of healthy eating, packaged smoothies and acai bowls. Walk into many cafes or look in the refrigerated section of the grocery store, and you'll see an array of these colorful options, often marketed with buzzwords like superfoods, detox, or energy boost. And while the ingredients listed might sound healthy, fruit, granola, maybe some seeds, the way they are put together, especially in pre-made or cafe versions, can result in a sugar bomb that can send your blood sugar soaring. The main issue lies in the sheer quantity of fruit often used, combined with a lack of balancing nutrients like protein and healthy fats, and often the addition of hidden sugars or sugary bases. A large smoothie or acai bowl can easily contain multiple servings of fruit blended together, while whole fruit has fiber. Blending it breaks down some of that fiber structure and makes the sugars more quickly available for absorption. When you blend several fruits together into a large drinkable or spoonable portion, you can consume a very large amount of natural fruit sugar in one go, much more than you would ever eat in solid form. But it doesn't stop there. Many commercial smoothies and acai bowls add extra sweeteners like agave syrup, honey, maple syrup, or even fruit juice concentrates as a base, further increasing the sugar load. Granola toppings, while sounding healthy, are often loaded with added sugar and can contribute significantly to the carbohydrate count. Even healthy-sounding additions like dried fruit, which we've already discussed, or sweetened nut milks can pack in extra sugar without you realizing it. For instance, a large acai bowl from a popular chain can easily contain 50, 60, or even 70+ grams of sugar. That's far more than the recommended daily limit of added sugar for adults, and a huge amount of even natural sugar to hit your system at once. This creates a massive blood sugar spike, followed by that crash, leaving you feeling hungry again shortly after, despite consuming a lot of calories. So, how can you navigate this if you enjoy smoothies and acai bowls? The best way to make them blood sugar friendly is to make them yourself at home. This gives you complete control over the ingredients. Focus on a base of low-sugar liquids like unsweetened almond milk, coconut milk, or water. Include plenty of vegetables, spinach, kale, cucumber. You often can't even taste them, but they add valuable nutrients and fiber. Use a limited amount of lower-sugar fruits like berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. Crucially, add sources of protein like protein powder, plain Greek yogurt, or silken tofu, and healthy fats like avocado, chia seeds, flax seeds, nut butter, or nuts. These additions will significantly slow down the sugar absorption, make the smoothie or bowl much more filling, and provide sustained energy without the dramatic blood sugar roller coaster. Skip the granola unless you find a truly sugar-free version, or use a small amount of chopped nuts and seeds instead for crunch when you're out and want a smoothie. Ask about the ingredients and avoid those that rely heavily on juice or multiple servings of high-sugar fruits without balancing protein or fat. Being mindful of portion size is also key. A giant smoothie or bowl is likely too much sugar in one sitting for most people, especially those managing blood sugar. So, We've walked through some common foods often perceived as healthy that can surprisingly impact your blood sugar. It turns out that sometimes the things we think are good for us, like those concentrated dried fruits, the seemingly innocent fruit juices, low-fat yogurts loaded with hidden sugar, refined rice cakes and crackers, and even trendy packaged smoothies and acai bowls, can send our blood sugar on a bit of a wild ride. It's not about these foods being inherently bad in all contexts, but about understanding why they can be problematic for blood sugar control and making informed choices, especially as we get older and our bodies might process sugars differently. The key takeaway is to be aware of concentrated sugars, whether natural or added, the impact of removing fiber and fat, and the importance of pairing carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats to slow down absorption. Remember, making changes to your diet doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's about gaining knowledge and making small, manageable adjustments that fit into your life. Replacing fruit juice with whole fruit, choosing plain yogurt over flavored, opting for whole grain crackers with seeds, and building your own balanced smoothies are all positive steps. Every little change you make adds up and contributes to better blood sugar control, more stable energy levels, and overall better health and well-being. You are capable of making these choices, and it's empowering to take control of your health in this way. Don't get discouraged if your numbers aren't perfect overnight. Consistency is what truly makes a difference. We'd love to hear from you. Have you found any surprising foods that affected your blood sugar? What are your go-to healthy swaps for some of the foods we talked about? Share your experiences and tips in the comments below. Your insights could help others in our community. If you found this video helpful and informative, please give it a thumbs up. That tells us we're creating content you value. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more practical tips and guidance on living your best, healthiest life at every age. We're here to support you on your journey. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep making choices that nourish your body and mind. Live your best life at every age.